Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of February 16th, 2025. I'm excited to announce that Astrology Foundations 101 class begins on February 27th at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're interested in learning astrology from the ground up with me, this is the class for you. We will cover everything about the signs, the planets, the houses, and the aspects, as well as the moon phases, and tie it all together with how to read a natal chart. Each class will last 90 minutes. You will have access to them for a minimum of 2 years. There will be optional homework and assignments, but this class is really meant for people, whether you are already have an understanding of astrology or are new to it, and just want to round out your understanding in order to live more presently, understand on a deeper level about yourself and the world around you and your relationships, and to see just not in your own life, but in the collective, how the astrology is showing up. So if you're interested, you can sign up at the link in the show notes or go to astrologybyceleste.com and sign up there. If you have any questions, email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. Each class is taught live, it's interactive, and I would love to meet you in person and help be your guide as you navigate this beautiful language of astrology. Also, if you are in the Sacramento area, I'm having a 3-hour in-person Lunar Planning Workshop, and that is also available at the link in the show notes or my website. I love meeting people in person. First, let's take a look back at the astrology in action. Last week was a pretty energetically intense week where we had the full moon in Leo and the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Leo both squared Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is the great awakener. It brings sudden changes. It liberates. It disrupts. It represents independence and freedom. And the revolutionary is a Uranian symbology. And Kendrick Lamar was the performer at the Super Bowl. And his performance blew the roof off Caesar's Palace. It was revolutionary. And he said right at the very beginning, the revolution will be televised. You pick the right time, but the wrong guy. And this is so in line with the astrology and the energy. When he was performing, the sun was approaching a square with Uranus, spotlighting this theme. And he took people through a journey of Black history. It's Black History Month. He brought to some people's attentions things they should know. Every American should know about 40 acres and a mule. After the Civil War, the freed slaves were promised 40 acres and a mule. And because the South and those people and the Jim Crow, and it's, you can Google it and learn more about the history. But the United States reneged on that deal to give these freed slaves land and a mule in exchange for their free labor. And there is a real loss of generational wealth because of it. And people who are proposing reparations one of their justifications for Black people who are descendants of slaves to have reparations is that the freed slaves never got 40 acres and a mule. And, he went into all sorts of other stuff. And he did his song, which was a diss track for Drake, Not Like Us. Drake and Donald Trump are both 29 degrees Leo rising ascendants. The rising sign is how people see you. They're both performers, they're both entertainers, they're both very prideful and arrogant, and they are both able to capture a lot of attention. And Donald Trump was in the audience of the Super Bowl. He left before the end of the performance because Kendrick Lamar, like right at him, said right to him, the right revolution, right time, wrong guy. So he said right in his face, America made a mistake with picking you. And, there was a lot of other stuff. There are so many people who have broken it down. I highly recommend, if you're interested, and I assume you may be interested if you're listening to me, to go listen to a few of them either on TikTok or Instagram, or you can go to YouTube, breakdowns of all of the symbology of what was going on in the performance, from what they were wearing to the colors to the set design. Last Sunday's word of the day was Transformers. And Transformers started as a video game, and the stage was set up like a Sony PlayStation controller. And so there was that video game energy of it. And Uranian things can be power outages. And on that day, the sun and Mercury, the Cazimi, like the image of that could be like, the power goes out or the lights go off. And one of the songs he sings is turn the TV off, is lyrics in one of his songs. So we saw that show up. We saw all of the astrology show up in his performance of the Sun and Mercury square Uranus. So it was really dynamic. And then the next several days leading to the full moon, there was so much talk about him. This performance, the only broadcast, Uranus rules broadcasting, that got more viewers than his performance was the moon landing. So people watched it live, watched it on YouTube, watched it here, watched it there. I mean, it took not just the United States, but the world by storm. Now, some people didn't like it. They didn't understand it. He won a Pulitzer Prize. I mean, this man is a philosopher and a poet. So, he's not there just to entertain people. He's there to make people think. And, a lot of stuff, he does the enigmas wrapped in a riddle kind of communication. And, there's all this backstory to everything. So it was just fantastic. It was very Uranian. It was very unique. It was revolutionary. It made a statement, and it was seen by millions and millions and millions of people. And at the end, there was a protest where one of the dancers pulled out a flag of Gaza. It said Gaza and Sudan on it. And it's so interesting that it was not the main performer who had the flag and brought the crisis and the humanitarian tragedies into people's conscious attention. It was one of the many. There were I don't know how many stage dancers there were, but there were tons of stage dancers, and it was one of them. So it wasn't Sinead O'Connor back in the 80s ripping up the Pope's picture. It was one of the dancers making the statement to the world, and the president of the United States, who wants to turn Gaza into a Riviera, which is not happening. It's not even worth talking about, really, at this point. But anyway, because Pluto is in Aquarius, the powerful statement came from one of the, peripheral audience members. Aquarius is the audience. Leo is the star, but at the full moon, we're talking and talking and talking about this big star. So it makes total sense about how that came up. Ooh, and some of the MAGA people were mad because all of his dancers were black. And they were like, where's the white people? And Donald Trump is like trying to scrub the entire government of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So why are these people upset that if color doesn't matter, it's not supposed to mean anything? Why are these people upset that there's only black performers at the show? It brought up the hypocrisy of some of the people who really liked him. And it was just really stunning. I need to watch it again. The other big news was that, and you may not have seen this, I saw this right before the full moon. ByteDance, the company that makes TikTok, has now created a new technology that can take a picture or an image, so just a photo of you, and create a lifelike AI version and make a movie. Literally have it look like a person, and they use celebrities to demonstrate this technology. So they used Leo-type figures to demonstrate this Uranian technology. Uranus rules scientific advancements. The sun is in Aquarius, the sign of technology. So they made this technology, and so they use like Taylor Swift and some other celebrities, and you got to see these AI images that looked just like them, talked and sounded like them, but weren't real. And it was too close to human being looking for comfort. And it's really frightening. This is Pluto in Aquarius, the dark side of technology. They have created fake human beings. They can take a picture of you and put words in your mouth you never said, but it looks like you're saying it. And if they have a snippet of your voice, they can fake your voice. This could be used to do all kinds of havoc, as well as replace workforces. I think it's scary. The Birthdate Company makes amazing products, and I am a proud affiliate. I especially love the Birthdate book. It's a fully personalized, beautiful, and unique reading of your birth chart with over 70 pages of detailed horoscope analysis. It is such high quality. I absolutely love it. They also make amazing birthday candles. You can get it for yourself or as a gift for someone else. So check out the store and use my coupon code Celeste10 for a 10% discount. Go to bit.ly/3PW3NFM. You can find that in the link in the show notes. Enjoy. The theme of this week is Man Overboard, and there are three big things I want you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that Pisces season will last from February 18th until March 20th. This is the last sign of the zodiac. It's mutable water. It's a great time to go within, release, and let go of anything that is no longer serving you. How can you be more intuitive? How can you trust the process? The Serenity Prayer contains wonderful wisdom. God, grant me the serenity to know what I can control, what I can't control, and the difference between the two. My mantra for this year is I will let my faith be stronger than my fear. So these are some things you can be thinking about. It's an emotional sign. It's intuitive. Listening to beautiful music. Water signs are mute. Getting quiet, meditating, going for walks, journaling, turning off the news. These are all wonderful things to do because it's a time where we're supposed to rest and release. It's the last sign of the zodiac before new energy comes in. And this Pisces season is different than the last several because there is going to be a lunar eclipse on March 13th where the sun is in Pisces, the moon is in Virgo. This is a full moon times 10 energy. And so it's really important to rest up because the lunar nodes, the north node is in Pisces, the south node is in Virgo. This is the axis of well-being. Pisces, I think about mental health, Virgo, physical health. And, can we be in balance so we can move through this time without getting sick? There's so much about bird flu and all of these other things. People are getting COVID and this and that and the other thing. So anything you can do to keep your immune system healthy so that you're less likely to get sick is worth the investment. Whether it's getting extra sleep, eating healthier, upping your vitamins, not stressing about things you can't control. All of these things are really helpful to be your best self. And on the 17th, which is Monday, the sun will be at 29 degrees of Aquarius. So the sun will be spotlighting Aquarius themes, Aquarius rules, groups, technology, scientific advancements. We can think about outer space, aviation is an Aquarius theme. So what are we looking at that's in a state of crisis and decay? The 29th degree is very karmic. There's going to be some news. And Aquarius is an air sign. Birds. So there could be stuff about bird flu. This whole month has been very Uranian. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and it was stationing at the beginning of the month. So, there might be some kaboom in some way where there's this, whether it's a release of information or conflict or whatever it is that grabs our attention, that makes us take notice. Maybe there's some news about this plan of Donald Trump's to empty out Gaza and turn it into the Riviera. But just be mindful of your surroundings. If you're in a big group of people, trust your intuition is what I'm getting. But there is an announcement probably coming. Air communicates and connects that impacts a large group of people. And Pisces is traditionally ruled by Jupiter. And modern ruler is Neptune. And Jupiter is currently in Gemini, an air sign. So something feels loud about the switch from the sun in Aquarius to being in Pisces, going from that 29th degree to the 0 degree for a new start. So there could be an announcement about illness, medication. It could be someone really well known where it's just like a singular individual who's a sun type figure has something that's related to a Piscean theme, or music is Piscean. Like I could see, a bunch of people get norovirus on a cruise ship and that makes news. That could be something we're seeing, or reading about a bunch of birds having to be put down. We've been reading about it and reading about it and reading about it. And maybe there's some announcement. This is when the CDC and the FDA are supposed to put their sites back up. So they should be up by then. So maybe there's some announcement from them about something health related that we need to know about. Or there's a big storm that impacts a lot of people. Could be something that comes up. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of secrets revealed during this time because Mercury in Pisces is going to square Jupiter in Gemini soon after this season starts, and Mercury communicates, and Gemini's an air sign. So what Mercury is doing, the Mercury and Jupiter are in what is called mutual reception. Mercury wants Gemini because that's the sign it's at home in. Jupiter wants Pisces because that's the sign that it's at home in. So this square is not as tense as an ordinary square because they each have something each other wants. Mercury is about the information. Jupiter's the big picture. Mercury communicates. Jupiter believes, it explores. So yeah, pay attention. I think there'll be some whistleblower stuff more that's coming out. And eclipse season is around the corner. A great time to get a reading to talk about what's coming up for you and how to best manage through it. The next thing I want to make you aware of is that we have a last quarter moon at 2 degrees of Sagittarius on Thursday. Sagittarius is mutable fire. Sagittarius energy is expansive. It seeks exploration. Jupiter is the planet that rules this sign. People with this energy often have a strong sense of ethics. They're willing to take risks and a great capacity for fun. You want to have a good time and a great laugh. Hang out with someone with strong Sagittarius energy. Now, shadows can be overly bloviating or know-it-all energy or self-indulgent to the point that it can become problematic. Impatient or non-committal are also shadows of this energy. The last quarter moon is the psychological integration of what came before this phase in the lunar cycle. So you can think back to the new moon. What was seeded in your life in the new moon in Aquarius? Did it have to do with friends, groups, or organizations? Was there some kind of decision that you made at the first quarter moon? What came to your conscious attention at the full moon? If you know your astrology chart, you can get more specific when you add in the houses. I had so many revelations at the full moon about my self-expression, which is a Leo topic. And it was just incredible. Some things that I'd been trying to understand why I did something 5 months ago finally came to my conscious attention. I was like, oh, that's why that happened. At this lunation, the moon is out of bounds, and Sagittarius energy can be kind of wild on its own. It's pretty fiery, and then out of bounds, out of the declination of the sun, where it can take on a Uranian essence. So people may be acting impulsively or extra enthusiastically, lawlessly. It'll be interesting to see what comes up because the moon is sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So what I'm getting with this is people could be becoming aware of something or mad about technology and taking action to fight it in some ways. And I know people are mad about all the things Elon Musk is doing. And in California, a bunch of Tesla owners got a note on their car saying that to get rid of it or is going to be damaged because it's some kind of political attack, which is horrible. Or people go after the Waymo automobiles. There's a lot of intensity to the energy and large groups are involved, or it's something about a conflict with technology is what is coming to me about this. And Neptune, the planet of illusions and delusions, is conjunct the asteroid Isis. And this jumped out at me for some reason. So there must be something that's coming up related to this. Isis was the devoted wife of Osiris and the god of the afterlife in Egyptian mythology. She's associated with magic, motherhood, fertility, healing, and protection, and was worshipped in Egypt and then the Greco-Roman world. So I'm wondering if there's something around fertility, that people are going to be cut off from that gives them a sense of freedom. So some kind of, I don't know, in the United States, every other day, it's something about trying to control women or it's women into being mothers, even if they don't want to be, or limiting birth control. So we'll see what happens. I also wrote down, who is the scapegoat this week? It could be a woman, or is there something about a married couple that give the Isis and Osiris energy? That makes me think of Beyonce and Jay-Z. We'll see. We'll see if what happens. The sun is at 2 degrees of Pisces, and this is the 8 of Cups tarot card. And on the card in the Rider-Waite Tarot, it is someone walking away from 8 stacked cups. And you can tell it's a card of disappointment, abandonment, and withdrawal. There's almost a sadness about having to walk away from this situation. The Sabian symbol is a petrified forest, an eternal record of a life lived long ago. This makes me think about Jurassic Park. I saw the commercial for the next one in the franchise that's coming out in July. So this gives an image of dinosaurs. Now, people can be called dinosaurs if they're stuck in the past. And with the moon sextile Pluto, like, are people getting upset at something technological that's not working? It could be. And is it because of their age? I don't get this. I don't know. That could be something. Or just their mentality. Also, the Stone Age. So is there any news about stone monuments? The moon at 2 degrees of Sagittarius, the tarot card is the 8 of Wands. This is a card of movement, of fast forward movement. So these are two interesting images, and then they're in conflict. It's like you had a fight and you're disappointed and you're ready to withdraw from your partner, but you just want to run out of the room, but you want to be dramatic and move away slowly to make it look like you are unbothered and unplussed is what comes to me. The Sabian symbol is 2 men playing chess. So this is games of strategy. And I get the image of people are playing chess and it looks like someone's going to win. But the script flips and then all of a sudden they're da-da-da-da-da, queen me. Or, I won. Boom. Or someone's playing chess and someone else is playing checkers. The lunar phase family of this cycle began in November of 2022. November 23rd, 2022, the sun and the moon were both at 1 degree of Sagittarius. So was there something seated in your life that was 27 months ago that has pivot points at the next dates I'm giving you? At the first quarter moon, where there could have been the same story, you had some kind of action you had to take, with the sun in Virgo and the moon in Sagittarius both at 1 degree on August 24th of 2023. The full moon of this cycle, where all may have been illuminated, with the sun in Gemini, the moon in Sagittarius, May 23rd of 2024. They were both at 2 degrees. And now we're at the last quarter moon on February 20th, 2025, sun in Pisces, moon in Sagittarius at 2 degrees. So this is a really tight one. And for people who their charts are activated, there could be a story that has been going on. So if you have planets or points around 0 to 3 or 4 of the mutable signs, you may have a story that you can identify based on the dates. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Mars will be at 17 Cancer all week. It doesn't station to go direct until Sunday, but it's barely moving in the sky. And Mars is retrograde, out of bounds, and in the sign of its fall. So this is imagery of someone who's mad about something, and it could have been something about Valentine's Day, like mad about getting a vacuum cleaner when you wanted a trip around the world. and just stewing about it. And there could be some kind of explosion that's on its way that could just feel like it comes out of nowhere, or you're still mad about that. And Cancer energy can hold the feeling for long times. Cancer is the historian of the zodiac. Yeah, and out of bounds means it's like this energy is almost uncontrollable for someone who's really impacted by it, where they're really frustrated or angry or impulsive or just like rushing around crazily. And with Mars, the risks are especially around fire and sharp objects. So frustrated, you just are rushing and trip and fall and hurt yourself in some way. So be mindful that 5 days before and after, the energy is most intense. So it's going to really, really increase around Wednesday. And we're going to be seeing stories about an uptick in accidents. It could be because of bad weather, like if there's a lot of ice. Cancer is a water sign. So when water freezes, it makes ice. So like cars skidding across a highway could be something we see visually. But I can tell you my moon is at 17 Aries. So the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So if you have anything around 17, give a couple of degrees on either side of any of those signs, because it's hard aspects. It's either the conjunction, Cancer, the square, Aries or Libra, or the opposition. And oppositions come in through other people, Capricorn. You're really maybe feeling this martial energy. And for me, I've been like, had a lot of work on my plate and like feeling myself feeling a little extra anxious and short-tempered and irritated and ready to get stuff done so that I can stop working and relax. So that's how I'm experiencing it. And also right before the full moon square Uranus at 11:45 at night, the fire alarm in my condo building went off because it was an accident, thank goodness. And we all had to go out in the middle of the street not in the middle of the street, on the sidewalk at the middle of the night. So that was very frustrating, but I looked at it as, thank goodness it's a false alarm and not a real fire, and our home is still there. So just be aware to slow down, take breaths. Using your breath is one of the best ways to calm yourself if you're in a state of irritation or whatever, and come back to yourself. It's medicine. If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching, where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is dispersal. There is a disseminating moon at 13 Libra at 6:08 a.m. Pacific time. Disseminating moons are times to share what you know, and Libra is an air sign. Air signs communicate and connect. It is associated with one-on-one relationships. So a great time to reach out to your partner or a friend and go do something together one-on-one, or just have a conversation. You may discover some great new interesting things that had happened to them over the last couple of weeks. On Monday, the word of the day is eagle. How can you rise above the fray and be strategic? Mercury's at 29 degrees of Aquarius. And whenever a planet is at that last degree of crisis and decay, there's something that is about to change, and it's really trying to express its energy before it changes signs, and Mercury communicates and rules our thought processes. And Aquarius is large groups of people, so there may be some important information that's shared, possibly that's been hidden, or there's something that impacts a large group of people. Hopefully it's nothing about any of these planes. There could be some kind of recall about something or something related to, we've been getting more and more news about bird flu in the U.S. The moon enters Scorpio at 4:18 p.m. Pacific time. Scorpio is deep waters. It's investigative and researching. And that's why I think there may be something that the people, the moon rules the people, become aware of that was hidden with Mercury at 29 Aquarius and the moon in Scorpio on this day. And I wrote down, he is risen. Like someone rises from the dead, or someone we haven't heard from in a while, maybe comes into the picture in some way. On Tuesday, the word of the day is SCUBA. The sun enters the sign of Pisces, and this is a time to get quiet. There's something that all of a sudden got very quiet. It's almost eerie. And I wrote, Lazarus rises. It's a miracle. Because this could be some story where this is like the little girl who fell in the well and everybody was waiting and on edge and looking for her for days. And, well, they could see her. I think her name was Little Jessica. This was like 30 years ago. And I remember it because the United States was mesmerized as we all watched and hoped this little girl would be saved from this well. And she was, and it was a miracle, and it was yay. So I get that kind of imagery, but it won't be a well with Aquarius. But it could be with Scorpio. Anyway, how interesting I gave that story, because on this day, Venus in Aries is semi-square Uranus. So that could be like upheaval, sudden upheaval impacts a young lady who's all by herself or maybe wearing something red. But I wrote down there could be some pleasant surprise. On Wednesday, the word of the day is dynamite. The moon is opposite Uranus. And JJ from Good Times would always say, it's dynamite. So this could be, oh my God, Uranus could be so exciting. It could be a lovemaking session that's mind-blowing, that takes you to a fantasy land. And the song, it's called Tennessee by Arrested Development. The song, Take Me to Another Place, Take Me to Another Land. Maybe there's news about migrants being taken to Guantanamo Bay or something like that, or something's uncovered about how some migrants have been treated. It was horrible. People were shackled and taken back to India. And these were people who were, dangerous. They had just snuck into the country illegally, and which is illegal. So yeah, you can take them home. But people in India were outraged by their treatment. They were shackled at the legs, and it was just unnecessarily inhumane. And Tennessee, they're always the lawmakers there. That's a red state in the United States. Lawmakers are always doing something that's against women, or we'll see what happens if there's anything related to Tennessee. On Thursday, the word of the day is frankly. And I wrote, my dear, I don't give a damn. It's not my problem. Your lack of preparation on your part does not create an emergency on mine, is what I wrote down with that. Because someone could be diddle-dawdling, like Scorpio is a fixed sign. So maybe someone gets so focused on something that, oh my God, the moon enters Sagittarius at 4:54 a.m. Pacific time. And, for whatever reason, they're tearing their hair out. And They're trying to make it everybody else's emergency, like a boss who didn't do what they were supposed to do. And they're trying to make it everyone else's emergency. Or one of these departments, which a ton of people in the government of the US suddenly got fired, and you don't know how to do something. And it just feels like there's some kind of emergency. And there's a last quarter moon at 2 Sagittarius at 9:32 a.m. Pacific time. And it could be like they call somebody who used to work there and they're like, let me introduce you to Mr. Click, because they're not going to help them out. Mercury and Pisces is square Jupiter and Gemini, both at 11 degrees on this day. So that's exactly what could happen. Oh my God, I just did the astrology accidentally. Yeah, Jupiter and Gemini, the big bosses. Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. You answer the phone and you lost your job and were fired unceremoniously, and it was rude and really unnecessary. And they tell you the big problem, and Pisces is a mutable water sign, and water signs are mute, and they just hang up the phone and don't even say anything. On Friday, the word of the day is scapegoat. The moon is opposite Jupiter. So who does the big boss tell the rest of the group's fault it is because they don't know how to do this action that has to be done to get the work over to the next place? Maybe it's some big muckety-muck at a corporation that relies on the government, needs something done, but now nobody knows how to do it. This is going to be this kind of stuff that's going to be happening all over the U.S. government. It's going to send shockwaves, and it could cause real serious problems. You cannot just fire whole departments or groups of people just willy-nilly without any kind of strategy, and there not be a lot of negative fallout. It's going to be blamed on DEI maybe, but there's going to be a snow job from the top about how and why this went so horribly wrong. And no, it's not DEI, it's poor planning and poor management. On Saturday, the word of the day is careful. The moon squares the nodes and then Neptune. Squaring the nodes suggests that crossroad energy. So the moon's in Sagittarius, the north node's in Pisces, the south node's in Virgo. Your spouse comes home and they've had a horrible day at work because of all of this nonsense they're dealing with. They work with the government. It wasn't their fault that all these people got fired. And you go to the south node in Virgo and be a little critical, and they may blow their top. It's better to go to the north node in Pisces and just be compassionate and give a listening ear. And then with the Neptune, they won't be disillusioned with you. They'll be feeling like, oh, that's why I love this person so much. The moon enters the sign of Capricorn at 3:08 p.m. Pacific time. Capricorn is cautious energy. It's a sign that rules government, big business, our work, the elderly. But this is a sign of caution. So it's a good time to just be planning your steps forward. Or full of care can be how you can look at the word careful. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology and action stories about what you're seeing through the week. Or let me know how the daily themes or word of the days are playing out for you. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.